Alright, so here's an email from Canada Embassy. I'm expecting this to be either my approval letter or my rejection one. So here's my reaction in real time. Downloaded. Canada has been approved. Yes, going to Canada, been approved. Hell yeah. Alright, so hardest steps done. Now, actually no, one of the easiest steps is now done. Time to get the job, time to get the work, and the flights, of course. Alright, next step, here we come. Alright, when I said that the easy part was getting the visa, I wasn't lying. So back in September of 2019, I reached out to a whole slew of people to get some interest in employment before I headed over to Canada. And I managed to get a few hits. So one of my major hits told me that like last season the wedding video business was bonkers and they had plenty of employment for me. So I'm like, cool. Happy to work with you, mate. And of course, I got my visa the other day. When contacted this guy again, I was touching base before then. But I went and contacted him saying, when would you need me? When would you need my work? Because I'm looking to head over there around, like late April, maybe May. And he gets back to me and says, yeah, I don't think we have any work for you until July. So this is just something that happens when you're dealing with 8, 9, 10 months in advance and employers overseas. Things change and you're not always going to get the outcome go in your favor. So for me, it's back to the drawing board, going back to figuring out what I should do, whether that be get some interim employment before I get some further employment in July like he promised me, or if I go with another employer altogether, or just go over there and wing it. So it's going back to the drawing board, trying to figure out what would be the next logical step forward. This will be maybe talking to your friends and family, getting their ideas, and ideally also talking to people who have already been overseas and done this experience. But I'll start brainstorming ideas and see what works, what doesn't work. And the good thing for you viewers that information is going to be passed straight on to you, and hopefully that will allow you to shortcut this process a little bit in the future. Anyway, back to work, and I'll update you with my future developments in the near future. Alright, so now back to the drawing board. So what I've done here is I've slightly changed my template email. I've updated some of my work since I last emailed. But most importantly, I've informed that I now have my working permit. So I think this gives peace of mind to a lot of employers. In the past, even though I didn't explicitly say it, they would have probably assumed that I didn't have my visa yet. So the fact that I'm telling them I've got a work visa, I'm just able to work just like any other Canadian. I think that gives some peace of mind, and it's allowed me to get a few more snags, as I'll show you in a second. So then I just ran the mail merge again, and the first up I just did the batch for Vancouver again, because that's still my city of preference at this moment, just because it's better for other things like hiking and nature, which I'm also interested in. I won't go into detail about how I made this mail merge again. That's in my first video, and I'll have that linked on the screen right now and also in the description below. But yeah, so I went and just ran the mail merge again, and it's good and bad. We're getting closer to my date, and a lot of subcontracting roles have been taken up, but also a lot of these companies are now finding how many extra staff that they may need for the summer season. So what I've done is any company that got back to me with anything positive or even lukewarm, I've now put into a database. So I've got my few Toronto feedbacks and I've all my Vancouver ones, and I made a description and it's just comments and what they were saying back. Okay, so just an update on this situation. I've gone ahead and emailed everyone again on my emailing database, both in Vancouver and Toronto, and thankfully I've actually had a lot more success this time around. It's basically come down to where can I get the most work during my stay over there, and what I've done is, I've created this little database. It tells me the name, the date, amount of work, email, and the comments if there's anything specific to their response. And what I basically just figured out doing this is Most of the work for these weddings seems to be in the Toronto area. I think this also has a much larger population, so it does make a small amount of sense. And I do have one editing job in Vancouver, so to me it looks like the smart choice for me is to work in Toronto and maybe edit some weddings from the client in Vancouver. Therefore, I can not miss out on any shoots, and I'm still gathering a decent amount of employment. So I probably hit what I call a critical mass here. So that's good. So I probably got about a good 4 or 5 connections, strong leads. I hopefully consolidate at least 2 or 3 of these, and that should sustain me for gainful employment that will at least pay for all my hopefully living expenses, and ideally a little bit of extra cash on the side to go exploring. But yeah, that's just the update, and so that's now ticked off. In the next video, I'm going to talk about flights, what you need to do, where you can get the cheapest flights, and what you need to remember for your port of entry. I'll then briefly touch on accommodation, how to find cheap accommodation in certain countries, and maybe any other preparation you need to do before you start packing those bags.